Hey people, I was looking for this image of this serpent on the cross when I found this. It's a stained glass, about 120 years old, and it's in this church, Holyrood, Watford. It's an image of how the English people saw Moses leading the people through the wilderness, which in the Hebrew, the wilderness and the desert is the same word. And so the people are just whiter than white. They are chalk white with red hair. They're albino Egyptians. And in the middle, you have people giving thanks to the serpent on the cross and Moses pointing it out. And on the left side, you have all these royal people, and they're standing under an angel with grapevines and grapes. And at first sight, this appeared to be marijuana buds. And it's possibly hops, could be hops, except the leaf here and the way this is growing on the stems, this isn't hops. Hops grows the same as grapes. It grows on a vine, looks like grapes. Even the leaves look like grapes. And it looks like they got some bud, some good bud here. And then on the other side, you have all the snake-bitten people. And it looks like they're choosing to be snake-bit. They holding the snake up and getting a bite. And so they're addicted. And you see that in the Greek. The word for, the snake bit was a dickin on the dickin haunting. The dickin haunting Lao. Lao is Lao. Same as the Chinese people, the Lao. And it means the allowed, the ones, it's what you're allowed to do. And then on the bottom side, you see the queen down here in her robe and the baby birds feeding on their mother. She's feeding them her own flesh. And you see the queen and the prince, they have wings like angels. And that's where your word angels comes from. English and angel are both spelt with a A-G-G. It doesn't matter. The E-N-G or the A-N-G both come from a A-G-G. A-G-G. First one's pronounced as N after the A. The G pronounced as N. Angelos, angelos. All one and the same. The eng. And in Hebrew, you'll find it in one spot when the sun comes up orange. They'll call it eng. And you can see here how hops, they grow down. They hang down like grapes. Buds reach up to the sun. And so you might think that this was whitewash for the English people, but actually your history has been blackwashed. And this is a very good representation as to what it says in the Hebrew and the Greek. So I was working on the names, and this is going in that file. And I don't even know if I'll get to the name, but that's what drove me here. So the Egyptian word for this is Moses. And you see that in the Egyptian writing, the Greek writing, and the Hebrew writing. Everything always wraps. And Moses. And you see his spelling down here is M-O-U-S-E-S. The mouses or the mooses. And Moses. And so all these people are royalty. They're wearing the finest clothes. And they have jewels sewed on their clothes. When you have jewels sewed down on the bottom hem of your clothes, you're not a slave, you're a king. All the people are jeweled. The addicts and the thanksgivers. They put purple on Moses to let you know he's the king. And then the good people over here. This angel on the top left is holding a banner. And the banner, it looks like the first word in the Hebrew Bible, barasit, B-A-R-S, except it's a T-E-T instead of a S-I-T. And what it means is in rested, fides, F-I-D-E-S, in rested fides, in rest your faith, in believe in the supplementum, in the supplement. Hey, I can't get you no wine out here. You see that the grapevines are all white. Those are spirits. spirits of grapes, the wine, and so we supplement it with some bud here. And then on the other side, it's difficult to read. This is a corruptible language. Mostly you just see this vertical line and just small marks. It's easy to make out this D here. But the I, U, M, and N, they can be concealed real easy. It's just the fine little lines connecting. You have to look real close. But it appears to say EUSVV or VAVM, and whose volume, and it means brought to you by. And this could be a DE or a DR, doctor, F or P, and I really can't make those out. In rest it fides, supplementum, trust the supplements, whose volume brought to you by Dr. Fee no telling. And then down here, this is hard to make out. It looks like CERNT, SIRNT, concerning. And CERNT, Moses. And I believe this is an X here, EX, exaltivit, to raise, exaltivit, to raise up. The serpentum in desertude, the desert. And to it, and then the AE here, becoming an ES. To it is exaltary, apportit filium hominis. And apportit is, to bring in a phylum. Let's say that is love, and hominis, mankind. And so, wine and buds does help to bring in a love for mankind. So that's why the serpent was raised. And so, the serpentum is plural, raise serpents. Serent Moses, exaltivit, and raise up serpents. In desert to it, exaltary, aportifilem hominis. And so the serpent on the cross, this is the knowledge of good and evil. And you can have good in wine and bud, and you can also have evil in it. You can have the addicts. And it's a great way to separate your nation, is legalize these things. And some people have restraint, and some people don't. It's a good way to get rid of them. It's how you collect their taxes. They're always screwing up and drunk driving. And then down at Moses' feet here, them blue flowers look like it could be chicory. That's what we use for coffee down south here. And so the mother feeding her children from her flesh, they say it's in the bloodline, and they say addiction, it's in your blood, it's passed down. If you're going to be a drug dealer, you don't use the product. And so which side's good and which side's evil? These might be the dealers profiting from it over here, and these might be the royalty losing their money over it. But that's what the serpent means, is the serpent is the knowledge of good and evil. And so the serpent is of the oldest and most widespread mythological symbols, representing dual expression of good and evil. So they turn this into a short little story, 6 through 9. The Lord sent the people serpents. And you see this is spelled a bunch of different ways through here. The ones causing death. And they bit the dickin on, the dickin haunting, allowing, and died the people, many of the sons of Israel. And came the people of Moses, saying, we have sinned, for we have spoke ill. And so this we have spoke ill. Spoke is lalas. And so ill is this Kate over here, and we is amen, zamen. And Lala zamen, and spoke some in. And they say Kate is ill, or a prefix meaning down, associated with kata, as in the category which listed under, and kataba, they say means come down. But if we go up to the top, it'll give us this Kate again, and a big old long word, and it's going to explain this real well. and heard the Canaanite king Arad, the one dwelling in by the wilderness, that Israel came by the way to Athron, and he waged war against Israel, and they carried away captive. And so the ones that got carried away captive are ill, the ill and prone, the ill pronum who's on, the ones that are prone to getting ill, the ones with a less healthy immune system, the Kate, the ill pronum who's on, the down pronum who's on. So this seems to be a story about euthanasia. So that serpent on the cross, it doesn't come from this story. And it'll tell you here in the Greek, upon a sign, and it's upon a shemiu. The same word for tree, wood, and cross, and its object made of wood is all the same word in the Greek and in the Hebrew. In Greek it's the zulon or the zulu, anything made of wood, a cross, the upright, a pole, anything. And in the Hebrew, the serpent that's in the field, in the nests, it's different from the serpent that he put on the pole. It's as elixir pushum, and put it, up on at New Orleans. That's where your word New Orleans come from, on a pole. New Orleans is an ancient city made out of a swamp filled in with cotton bales. And every time you build New Orleans, you put it on a pole. And you see it in this ninth line, and put it on a pole. In wise mew, that's your Egyptian word for the cat, mew, M-E-W, meow. And whose cat Orleans? Whose cat Orleans on the pole means the river's up. And so in the eighth line, it was to make the elixir and make to you a serpent. But here it's in vios and goes cinches in chest and losing your air. Whose cat? Whose meow Orleans? And that's coming from the cat all in Sioux high, looking for a high place. And M in shaken, M in shaken, and hiss at the serpent, and hiss at, and tase to is we bit, and all in is the nest, and the nest why. So the secret of this story of the serpent of brass is in the names of all these places that they had just come from. Egypt and Edom and the Red Sea and Anathema. And so there's never no names. They might talk about a tunum at of to pav, to the poor, the lane of Anathema. And so none of these names of places are names of places. This is just laying out the story, and it's on a theme. Theme, a Greek word, to place, to sit. And let me get you a setting for this story. The theme, money deposited, a pile, a nativity horoscope, a prize. So this is telling a story about how an election was stole in the land of the red. And you see that in the Hebrew, where this bronze serpent story starts in line 4 instead of 6. And it's, and journeyed from Hor Mount by the way of the Sea of Red to go around the land of the red, Edom, Adam, meaning red. And you see that on this word for the Red Sea here, the thalassi on, the rudder on. And this word is never used for red anywhere except the 2 times with the thalassi, and 1 time the same fashion in Homer's writings. But the thalassi, it comes from a word is the Dallas. A Dallas is a big cornfield, a sea of corn, a sea of wheat blowing in the wind. the Dalla Sea, but it's also where Dallas come from, containing 100, something like that. The Dallas on. And the dollar's on rudder on. The dollar's on steer in the land of the red. So what this says is, and echoes in O Shana Neos. Shana na, good riddance. And Aos, as in adios to goodbye. Shana na, goodbye. Good riddance. And echoes in of Shana Neos. In a style whose eradicate. And so the OI here becomes the E. And eradicate icon, the symbol of. And kata, under, according to the vermin. The N followed by the E becomes a V, vermin. Animals that are believed to be harmful to crops, vermin, parasitic worms. And so that makes me believe that a Shana Na is the ancient serpent brought in to get rid of the rats. And echoes in of Shana Neos in a style whose eradicate icon, according to the vermin, Audi health in his rule, Adana their him. Adana, the Lord of their him, the Lord of the health in his rule. That's the serpents, the medicine men. And the Donna, their him, with all power, the czar of. And a polemcy. And this word, coming from the word, the pole is the city, and the sea, the police, take care of the city. And the polemcy is the elections. And the polemcy force his rule. And a cat, the ill prone, who's the pronem who's on. It saw to nay. And that's why they'll tell you in Greek everything starting with the AI means not. But depends on the word before, that last letter, nay. And saw to not come all who see on. No gathering together. Hey, everybody who's prone to illness, it's ought to not come all as see on. And don't come down to the poles. You're just going to spread your illness. And who's at to his rolu? His rolution. It's a illusion. It's a solution to clean something up. A loose, a light, to a clean, translucent. What's that to his rolution? His solution is his rolution. To carry a wise and hip in knowing, and wise in the end becoming a B a bit after this E following, to be, and wise be on me, M-E. The O-I becomes the E. And wise be on me, paradoston. And me parados, is a long parallel along with my ways of thinking, para, and along in paradoston. My Latin homies, and ton placed the paradoston. The paradoston, allow on, to allow on, to what on, hypocherion, not under my hand, there's no my there, it's just underhanded, hypo, under, chair, handy on, and allow on, to what on, underhanded on a dematio, oughtn't, and dematio, the consumption, and on a dematio, to remove, D may show, to remove the numbers oughtn't, what as a police ought of. The pole, the city, and taking care of the city, the police. What is police ought of? It should be watched over. And his accused carry as this phones. And somebody hollered, the accusing carries the phone. And somebody accusing that this is what happened. They phones, they holler. And his role a paradole. And a scrape or bruise. And dole, to dish out. And dole it on. The E following the K turns it to a L. And the paradole it on. Shine on ion. And good riddance to ya. Ya uppo, ya underhanded on. And of to, this is the and here, and this is the vav, the W, and the underhanded on of to, and a wave, demate is in. And the mat, the matty, the truth, and wave, the truth is in. Wave, the matty is in. What as the police ought of. And the pickle is in. When you're in a pickle is in, that's when they say call the name of the Lord. That's where you get your epic lesson. Well, you learn a good lesson there, a big one. An epic lesson. A tunum at of to foe or to pov, or poverty come from poor, or to the enemy, and to the pov, the lane of, on a theme. The theme is to the poor, the lame of, on a theme. To wave the maddies in, to wave the truth is in, ought of, what is police ought to. And the epic lesson to on the tunum at of, to foe the lane of, on a theme. And apparent is its sort. Its sort, ETSORT. And apparent is its sort of arouse, adonify, to lordify. That's the type to adonify. But this reading as a V, and it's at of the phi. The phi means the one standing behind, and so my Lord, the adonify, atonify, the one I'm standing behind, my candidate. And apparent is its sort of arouse, at of the phi, the Dallas, Sion, the double S becoming an I from Egypt, and the Dalla Sion, the steer and the rudder on, peri, around the cycle is on a tinge, gotten dirty from the land, and then the end turn into the bedum, in the tinge bedum. And oligo, the small, the few or little. And oligo of psych, the psych, the powers, the mind, the psych is in. And little, the psych is in, of louse, in thought, THOT, thought, and allows in thought. And ill low they, and ill tongue they, allows, forced on the light, forced on the light, and according to mush allegiance, mush motion to moving, and must, and mush and push allegiance, and naughty, and why did and push allegiance in Audi. And what he should do, it's against, and people are reading this as Gog and Magog, to lead and led. But this AG here is reading as the N, and that's where this lead comes from. Gains, moving ahead. And its gains come as it's ETS, it's say, gift of. And they gain by saying it say, AI, it's not a gift, not gift of. If they say it's a gift, it's not a gift. And it's say gift of a pocket hinage to kill. A pocket hinage. That's where they used to give you your vaccination, up in your hinage, and they would poke it. And a pocket hinage come as in therm. It was the vermin before, now it's and come as in the worm, the thermo. At you cestin, at you plant in, at you cestin art as, and plant it in the art, in the movies, on the TV, in the pictures, in the songs of a TEWTOR, of a tutor. At you cestin art as of tutor, is to teach Edda, the wife of Tutor. Seashat, the one with the pot on her head, the pot leaf on her head, the thought Edda. And at you cestin art as of Tutor Edda, the wife of thought, and psych, life power, and knowledge, psych, the mind, come on. Prozac. And Prozac this in. You better take your Prozac to figure this out. Into R2 to die len o taught to. The Prozac this in into art, and to dial, D-I-A-L, with the E following, the dial in taught to. And they're reading this as this empty. It makes me think it could be, the dial in at out of gas. This is empty. And so at of the phi of the Dalla C double S meaning SI, at the Dalla C on the rudder on the steer. The Dalla C on is the rudder on. Makes me think this is the rudder over here, the steer. You see they stashed this little dollar sign over here, the Dalla C. And it might represent some crops, tied up. And so the rudder is Hose Viam, brought to you by Dr. Fauci. But no, I believe this is a D, E, and F. These are hard to make out here. But yeah, according to the writings, this serpent doesn't belong on the cross. This is the serpent on the pole. This is the dollar sign. The serpent on the cross is the one in Genesis 2 and 3. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. He's the uphold, no feet, uphold, no feet to what's allowed of. Got no feet what's allowed of. The serpent, a genius, the genius lane. Some people reading this as a kind, the genius kind, which would be the genius, as they say, is the type or the kind, but it's the type slang, the calling upon her on, the serpent, to no feet to what's allowed to a genius lane, the calling upon her on. And so this serpent's name is Mu. This isn't the serpent, this is the cow appeased. The story is that the gods, when they left Earth, they left this cow here for us to appease. His name was Appease. Make this cow happy. And the ode, and the story. And the story to appease on Acrone Matados. And that which is the greatest of the friends, the best friend of. And a ode of appease on his best friend. And so appeasing's best friend, this is appease here. And his best friend is Moo. You can see the shape of him. He's in the shape of a moo. Moo meaning nothing, not yes nor no. It's the one thing is good and evil. I can't answer that. Moo. And so the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is Moo's tree. He was minding his own business. He was at his own residence. So program's slowing down. I have to cut this off here. And I'll read some more of that Genesis 3 about appease and his Crony Matatos best friend, yes and no. Good day.